Hi, my name is Dwayne Squires.
My name is Richard Muse.
In this video, we're going to share top tips on how to keep your property rented in the Northeast.
First tip is to have a very good managing agent, very important. You want an active management agent who does regular inspections and is looking after your interests. And I state the regular inspections is something that some agents say they do and they don't. So very, very important you have the right agent. Second point is to keep the property in good condition. If the property is in a poor condition, your tenant's going to complain and get up and leave. And many landlords, I see this a lot, where landlords just won't spend that little bit extra in keeping the property right. And what happens? The tenant up and goes and you lose money. So that is very important. Keep it in good condition. Number 3, respond to issues quickly. So if your tenant phones you up and says, look, I've got a problem with my boiler, I've got no heating, well, you've got to think, would you like to be long without any heating in your own home? So you've got to look after your tenants and respond to issues very, very quickly. When you do that, they'll appreciate it and more likely to stay in the long term. Fourth one is to have a competitive rent. It's no use, obviously, trying to advertise your property at a price outside what is they're generally going for in the market. So, say for instance, it's £400 a month what it's going for in the market, then you want to be around about that or just even below. No use going over the top, because the properties that have got the most competitive rents will let first.
That's some really good tips there, Richard. So the fifth one is actually create the wow factor. So a lot of buy-to-lets and rental properties all have or typically have magnolia running throughout, which is boring. It's boring. Now, if you're a tenant, if you put yourself in a tenant's shoes, if every property they're going to has magnolia, 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 and then they come across a property that has this wow factor where it's not magnolia, maybe it's white walls or light grey walls and it's got some really key feature walls that pop out from it, they automatically be like, wow, I haven't seen such a property before. And the wow factor doesn't need to be expensive. It just needs to be in specific areas. So it could be your feature walls. It could also be a nice kitchen. It could also be a clean and crisp, but a wow factor bathroom. These are a few things that you could invest slightly more in, but will keep your property rented for a very long time. Then we go into the sixth tip, which is the AST. So a lot of ASTs are typically 6 months minimum. Now, one thing we look to do is try and incentivize your tenant to sign a long-term AST, which means you'll reduce the amount of voids that you have by actually giving them a slightly reduced rent. Slightly reduced rent. Even if you reduce it by 10, 15 or 20 pounds, to you, it's a small thing, but to your tenant, that's a savings to them that they can use for something else. Maybe it's shopping, maybe it's food, maybe it's something else. But you're helping them or you're incentivizing them to stay longer on an AST in exchange for a slight discount. And when you look in the grand scheme of things, if you've got an AST for 12 months, and that means you've got 0 voids, but you gave a £20 discount. Over the year, yeah, you might be losing out on £240. But if that property went void for 1 month, you've saved yourself around £200 to £240, an average rental of £450 to £500. And then seventh, it's also being active. And that means you being active with filling the property if it goes void, but also going back to Richard's first point, a good agent. So you should make sure your agent is actively promoting that property, using online as well as offline. Maybe they're using Zoopla, they've got it in Rightmove, they're using loads of different platforms to market this property. And also you want to be checking that they're responding to inquiries quickly. What you find sometimes with agents that aren't necessarily in the ball, they are getting inquiries, but they've got so many properties, but they're responding in a long period of time. It could be they're responding 3-4 days down the line when a tenant wanted to move in 2 days ago. So you want to be making sure your agent has the speed to respond quickly. So just to summarize, these are some really key tips that you can implement straight away to make sure your property stays filled. Getting a really good agent, making sure the condition of the property is good and clean, having a quick response to issues that tenants might raise regarding maintenance, making sure you've got a competitive rent, creating that wow factor, make your property stick out, and going for long ASTs in exchange for a slight discount, and making sure you're active as well as your property or letting agents active in filling that property. Thank you very much for watching our video. If you found it useful, please can you click the like button, as well as follow our YouTube channel by subscribing to it. That will then mean that when we release new videos in the future, you'll be notified of those.
Once you've liked and subscribed, why not watch other of our videos by clicking the thumbnail on the right-hand side? This will take you to more helpful videos for you to watch.